Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. This isn't going to be one of my Tactica or 40k stories videos. I'm just going to bring you a bit of news from the internet and all the rumours that seem to be flying around. Some of it is pretty concrete, some of it is not. So this is only very short term and not confirmed. I'll start with the more substantial stuff and it'll get a little bit wilder as we go. So I want to start with the Imperial Guard, because they are apparently due a codex very soon. It could be in next week's White Dwarf release, which will be the 27th-ish. It could be into April. We're not sure exactly. What we do think as an online community, because there are several forums that broadcast this, is that the Guard's name is going to change. Yes, you heard me right. The Imperial Guard as a force is probably going to cease to exist. It will be replaced by, wait for it, the Astris Militarum, or Militarium. I think it's Militarum. So, obviously they're going very pseudo-Latin, like they have done with things like the Adeptus Astartes, Adeptus Sororitas. Everything else Imperial seems to have gone that way, so it makes sense, perhaps. I think it literally translates as Star Troopers. I'm not 100% if you loosely translate the Latin. There are several reasons debating why they've done this. Perhaps they just want to bring the Guard in line with everybody else. Perhaps they just want to make them seem a little bit less like the dregs of humanity. Perhaps it's to do with the fact the Imperial Guard exist in other places. I know Star Wars has Imperial Guard, but that could be any number of reasons why they've done that. Either way, I think it sounds pretty cool. I don't think I'll be using it though, because it's a lot easier to say, right, I'm playing 1500 points of Guard, than it is to say I'm playing 1500 points of Astris Militarum. It just sounds easier to say 1500 points of Guard. So if I get the Astris Militarum Codex, which I'm likely to do, and I start analysing it for the channel, if I drop into calling it the Imperial Guard Codex, that's why, because I just find it easier to say. Some of the new models and creations they seem to have come up with, I don't know about rules, because there's not a lot come out in that sense in terms of leaks. What we have seen are a few images. One is of Ogrins. Ogrins have been a seminal part of the Guard range for years. They've been metal for years, big bulky things with massive ripper guns, which have always been quite cool, and they seem to be getting an update. They are a bit less stocky. The ripper guns are getting a massive drum magazine. Not the circular drum magazine, it's almost like a, what's the word, trapezium magazine, or a bit like a house, maybe, a house with a roof on top in your magazine, and it looks really cool, and with a massive bayonet as well, so I'm not too fussed about this. They look a bit more human though, so I'll probably, when I get the White Dwarf or Visions to go with it, I will show you guys. They're also going to make a second variation of Ogrins. I don't know if this is a unit option or if this is another unit entirely. They appear to be armed with what look like respirator units, thick body armour, shields, like door shields. For those of you who play Plants vs Zombies, they're perhaps like doors as shields, or perhaps Space Marine players would be a better idea. I've heard of the video game Space Marine, the Scar Boys come with these shields that basically look like doors, and that's what these are, but more regimental and imperial, almost like bulkheads. And their gun is wacky. Instead of being armed with a whopping great mace or something, they've given them wrist-mounted guns that seem to come out here, and I'm not sure what they do yet. They remind me of the Centurion guns, obviously not in terms of make, but they remind me of the Centurions in terms of appearance, like guns strapped under the wrist. And that's what they're going to look like. I'm not sure what their name is yet, so when I get that information, of course, I will bring it to you guys. Something else, Stormtroopers, formerly known as Kassakin, now known as Stormtroopers, now being known as something like Tempestus Militarum, so literally Stormtroopers. Literal translation, pretty much. So the name's not changing, they're just Latinizing it. Again, I think this may be a Star Wars problem. Perhaps Disney are being a bit harsh on their copyright. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. I don't know. But they're getting redone in plastic, and I think there'll be a Stormtrooper command kit as well. I'm looking forward to that, because Stormtroopers, with, if you give your command squad top shot lasguns, which you can't do now, I think that'll be really cool. Plus, it explains you can have a veteran army led by a veteran leader. So I think that's something to look forward to. Perhaps it will mean the Stormtroopers can be made into platoons, or perhaps moved into the troop section. I don't know, we'll see. And obviously, again, when I get the Codex or the White Dwarfs that detail this, I will let you know. The last thing that I know is, or the two things I know confirmed. One is the Hydra. The Hydra has been around for years. It is the anti-aircraft gun. basically mounting a quad gun on a Chimera, as most converters do. I think it's getting its own dedicated kit now. It's very big. The gun rack is huge. So perhaps that's going to get a buff, maybe. I think there may be a second kit built into it. Again, don't hold me to that. I haven't seen the pictures. Or at least when I tried to find them, the links were all broken. The last thing is something called the Orks. This is brand new. Never seen before, never heard of before. It's an armoured vehicle, very liberally festooned, at least in one variation, with fleur-de-lis and imperial iconography. So it's very religious almost, even though I believe it's going to become a transport vehicle or a command vehicle for stormtroopers. And the silhouette is quite weird. So for those of you who are Ork players, I'm just going to go and grab something. Oops. Oh, hang on, it's in my box. Never mind. In the Orks, when they got their last model release, I'm coming on to the Orks actually, they received a model for the battle wagon, which has been around in the background for years, but they've never had a model for it. And I hope somewhere in my box is a battle wagon. Oh no, where'd I put it? Sorry guys, I thought it was in there, but I must have moved it and put it away. So, but the silhouette is very blocky. It's very much very linear almost, too linear for Orks. Very flat-nosed prow with a curve option, which is an optional extra, and then a large bed at the back, which you can put your troops in. Roof, guns, etc. And this silhouette, if you were to block the sides off on a battle wagon, take all the Orky bits off, you'd probably find something very similar to this Orks. I don't know if it's all wheeled or all tracked or what, but it looks like it's similar off a battle wagon silhouette. So I expect Ork players to try and loot this, as if they don't want a battle wagon or they want a looted wagon and a battle wagon that look quite similar. So that is what we know. We have seen the box covers, we have seen the Codex cover, which looks quite cool. Again, it's gone with this orangey colour scheme that we saw on the Space Marine and Tau and etc. So it looks like it could be very awesome. The rules I can't bring you. I hear orders may get a shake-up. I'd like orders to get a shake-up because most of them are a little bit defunct. And I'm going to probably start wish listing. I'd like to see something maybe develop with the abhumans and possibly with the platoon system, because at the minute it's very, very regimented. Too regimented. Actually, can Guard be too regimented? I don't know. But maybe something to do with the tanks or whatever. And of course now you can add Lords of War in if you want to play Escalation. You can play Baneblades and co. And I'm really looking forward to one day saving up, getting a Baneblade and using it and wreaking havoc on my friends. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Anyway, the second part of this video is less confirmed. These are just rumours that have been flying around, and they concern Orks. Now, for those of you who've not been in the hobby that long, Orks were redone as a codex in 4th edition, which was back in, it was about 2008, the Ork Codex got done, just before 5th came out, I think. So they felt a bit let down, but it was well adapted for 5th. So things like fleet being in the army and quite powerful vehicles, all were quite useful for Orks. And they've been left alone. They got another model release when they got Storm Boys, Boss Snickrot, Boss Zagstruck and Battle Wagon were released and updated so as there were some new models for them, but they haven't been done since. Yes, they had the Stomper, which is just up there, which was done with the Shadow Sword, and there's been rumours flying around that they're next in line, because obviously with Black Templars being rolled into the Marine Codex, Eldar being done, Tau being done, all their armies that have been around for a while getting redone, the Orks will be next or soon. And some of the wilder rumours I've heard, well, some of them are quite logical, some of them are a little bit crazy. One is allowing Storm Boys to assault flares. Again, I'm going to reference the game Space Marine. In that game, Storm Boys board flares and you have to shoot them off. And I think this would be a great mechanic for Orks, because it just shows their gung-ho attitude, possibly would mean involving melter bombs, maybe. And I would love to see, as a wish listing thing, something that gives war bosses jump packs. Because at the minute they have mega armor, bikes, heavy armor, all the war gear available to the rest of the army, and no jump pack. And that bothers me. I don't like that. I think a war boss with a jump pack would A, look really badass, and B, be really badass on the battlefield. Some of the things I've heard, there's going to be a WAR table. So for those of you who maybe don't know or need a refresher, WAR gives Orks fleet for a turn. it's not as good now. Obviously, Fleet got nerfed to re-rolling runs and re-rolling assault rather than being able to run and assault, which is very powerful back in 5th. So that may get rolled in to increase the war table, which could get annoying. I've spoken or seen videos with NID players who are quite annoyed at the, or quite surprised at the instinctive behaviour tables, the fact that they have to reference tables all the time to see what the heck you're doing. So that could come in. I'm not sure what to make of it because I don't know the results. I expect some of them will be negative, some of them will be positive, some of them will just be downright up the middle. The last thing I heard is choppers. When Orks and Goblins, which is the fantasy version, which was done long before Orks 40k, were released, choppers gave out +1 strength on the charge, or which they basically got Furious Charge. And there's been rumours flying around that perhaps choppers will do something similar in 40k, that perhaps they'll give out +1 strength, or at the very least get an AP value. Because at the minute they're just a basic combat weapon and Ork boys can't hit stuff for trying. So perhaps making them AP 6, AP 5, giving out +1 strength maybe. Then again, strength 5 Orks would be very powerful. Either this strength bonus or keep Furious Charge, or perhaps both if you want to be OP. So yeah, there's a lot of rumours been flying around, and a lot of it is probably just Orc players wishlisting because they've been waiting 6 years for a codex. I mean, when I started playing Orcs, they were still relatively new. This was back in early 5th. And they were still good. I lost a fair few then again, I was a newbie. But I've always found Orcs to be very enticing. There's a long story about how all players seem to start out at Space Marines or other races, and all the general hobbies work their way to Orcs or Guard one time or another. So these are exciting times with the Astros Militarum update and the Orc updates. Potentially, don't hold my word to that. I don't know quite what's coming or what will be coming, or whatever's just wishlisting. Obviously, the only way to really find out is to wait for Games Workshop to release said things, show them in White Dwarf, show them in Warhammer Visions, and just check them out. So, hopefully, if my subscription is running tri-monthly, because, as I said when I did my Warhammer Visions video, I've cancelled my subscription, but it's on tri-monthly payment, so I may get the next one, which if I do, will be the Astros Militarum, and I'll show that to you guys. If not, I may go out and buy a White Dwarf so I can show some of you guys, just so you can see what's coming, or what has come. And then if the Orc one comes out, again, I'll do something similar. I'll go and find it and get it and show you, because Orcs and Guard have a place here. Orcs are my first, Guard are my latest, and probably my last. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with these two codices, and I will analyse them if I buy them, particularly the Astros Militarum, because I want to use that in bat reps. So I've been waffling on now for, 13 minutes? So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, favourite, subscribe, etc. What do you guys think? Do you like the name change? Do you like the idea of the new models? Be sure to go check them out. Look online. I'm sure they're on forums and other places if you want to go and check out the models. What do you make of them? What do you make of some rule changes that have been thrown out there? And the one thing I really want to check is this name change. Yay or nay on the Astros Militarum? And then perhaps some comments about the Orcs as well. Do you think they deserve a new codex? What would you want to see? What do you expect to see? Maybe somewhat the rumours are more concrete, because I'm obviously working on what I've seen, which isn't everything, so I'm sure there's a load of stuff people can give me. This video will probably be up Tuesday. So as I said, my timetable has now taken effect, so I'll be posting once every 3 days. So my next video will be towards the end of the week, and that will probably be a Tactica or a 40k stories of some sort. I'm not sure quite which one. I may have a detailed look at Macarius in the first part of the Macarian Crusade. I'm not sure, so leave that with me. As I said in my Macarius video, I'm probably also going to have an army showcase and bat rep for you soon. Well, that's the plan anyway. We'll see how that materialises. I'll let you guys know. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Tactica Imperialis to stay in the loop. My name is Michael, and I will see you all again, folks.